Bada boom, bada bang, bada bop. We are back today in the rain in the Mizuno Wave Sky 9. I was joking around that people were gonna lose their Mizuno privileges. I wasn't really joking actually, but truth of the matter is I'd already ordered this when I said that. So reluctantly, I am reviewing this. We'll see how the engagement is on this video, and that will determine whether we'll do more coverage on this or more coverage on Mizuno in general, because Mizuno is one of those brands that people just sleep on. Anyway, if you're looking for a new shoe, welcome. You're in the right place. An even better place would be the Supwell app. Supwell app is my app. It's the best buy, sell, and trade marketplace out there. You can find shoes like the Mizuno Wave Sky 9 or other max cushion bangers like the Mag Max, the Glycerin Max, the Skechers Aero Burst. A lot of hobby joggers out there, they'll buy a shoe, maybe it doesn't work for them, they run it once or twice, they list it on the app, and you can get a deal for well below MSRP. We also have the best community of people getting after it daily, posting their runs, being accountable, posting their races on the training calendar and the race calendar to let people know why they're racking and stacking miles. So if you're looking for a new community or a great deal on a shoe, get in with us and enjoy today's video. Brothers let me down. You know that song? That's a deep cut. That's what I was listening to this morning. 42 Doug and Babyface Ray. It's from, I think, 2021, 2022. That's a banger. That album is just full of bangers. Babyface Ray. The Face album. I haven't really loved any of his recent stuff, but his two albums back to back, I'm just going to call it Unmesswithable, because the real title is not, it's a word I don't say. So Unmesswithable, banger. Just straight bangers on that album. He also had a V's feature on that album in 2020 or 2021 before V's blew up. The song is called Gallery Department. Just complete banger. And then the other album, Face, that's a really good album from top to bottom. If you listen to My Thoughts / what is it, The Prayer 3 or something like that, the intro to that is just crazy. They sample the Timbaland song. It's just super good. So that's what I was listening to this morning. Because people let me down, man. People let me down just gassing up shoes. Gassing up shoes and gassing up training that's not hype. If it's not hype, if it's not fire, we don't gas it up on this channel. Anyway, we're back to the new shoe grind this morning. We have the Mizuno Wave Sky 9 here. It's been really nice this week to not be taking out the new shoes every day. Monday, I went Aero Goat. Tuesday, I went Glizzy. I actually have the Glizzy out here. Yesterday, I went Alpha Fly. I had to prove my wife wrong because she called me soft. Today, we're going Wave Sky 9. I was really debating not reviewing this shoe at all, and I actually thought it got lost in the mail because I ordered it sometime last week, and it didn't get here till last night. Usually, it only takes about 2 days. Oh, there we go. Bye, Charles. I actually don't think she's seen my video or my video title yet because her phone was dead last night, and she didn't get it till this morning, so we'll see. We'll see what the response is to that one later. But yeah, I was debating not getting the Wave Sky 9, and it got lost, and then it came here yesterday. The reason is because this guy, the Neo Vista 2, best long-run shoe of the year, I covered this, and people were just sleeping on it. People said the upper looked boring or something. I don't even know. The navy blue looked boring. This colorway looked boring, I guess. I don't think this colorway looks boring. I actually think this is a really clean, nice-looking shoe. It has the logo on the inside, and you know, I typically like the bright colorways, but this one is just nice. There's nothing wrong with this. So that was one thing. They said it looked boring. Nobody watched any of the videos, and nobody bought it. I've seen maybe 2 or 3 people post reviews on it on the app. The people who do buy it, though, they say, man, I can't believe I've been sleeping on this. This is my favorite shoe now. So Mizuno has been coming out with some really quality stuff. Neo Zen, which is a non-plated version of this that only has this bouncy top layer. They have this shoe, Neo Vista 2, the long-run shoe. They also updated the Wave Rider 29. I did cover this recently. It's funny. My first run review of the Wave Rider 29, it actually got more views than my 100-mile review of the Neo Vista 2. So maybe the colorway thing does have something to do with it, because this is a really clean colorway. But this shoe here, Wave Rider 29, they call this foam Energy Next. So this is something that tripped me up in my review of this. So look, Energy Next. Then if you look at this, they also say Energy Next. So Mizuno was on my good side for a while, and they still are. However, that's a trigger for me because this is a TPU-based foam that enters you next in here, and you can see it's a lot different. It's soft. When I push it in like this, it just looks different. It's a different compound. This version of Energy Next, this is a supercritical EVA. It feels firmer. It feels more standard. That's why the Wave Rider 29 was not the same level of bangerness as the Neo Vista 2. Also, the Wave Sky 9, I did my homework on this because I didn't want to be tripped up again. The Wave Sky 9 is the same Energy Next as the Wave Rider 29. So do not get too excited because it's not the same foam as what's in the Neo Vista 2. I think a lot of people are thinking the Wave Sky 9 is supposed to be a non-plated Neo Vista 2. It's not. They're two different compounds. It is the supercritical EVA. So think Brooks Ghost Max. Think Hoka Bondi. Think maybe even Hoka Mach 6, or think Wave Rider 29. That's the category it would be in. The Bondi and the Ghost Max, those are the two closest comps for the type of supercritical EVA that we have in the Wave Rider 29. Now, it's not a bad foam at all. I actually really liked this shoe. This was a fun ride for a daily trainer. It had a 10mm drop, so more standard, and it had the wave plate in here. Really solid shoe for what it is. Also, Brooks Ghost is another shoe that still has a supercritical EVA, but it doesn't rise to the level of a Neo Vista 2 or a Glizzy Max or even Super Max Stack shoe right here. Skechers Aero Burst, just bangers on bangers on bangers, right? So at the $200 price point, you have the Neo Vista 2, you have the Glycerin Max. The Skechers Aero Burst is $150, and it gives you a lot of what you can get out of the Glizzy and the Neo Vista. I've called this the most slept-on banger of all time. It's the Ms. Boat. Ms. Boat, I ain't talking 2 Chainz wife. Yeah, it's the most slept-on banger of all time. Really good shoe for $150. But what I would compare the Wave Rider, or no, Wave Sky 9, what I would compare it to, the highest hopes, boom, Nimbus. You all know how much I love the Nimbus, man. This is my third or fourth actually Nimbus. I've had the 25, 26, the Mirai, and now the 27. Really awesome shoe. Fifth. I actually have the Nimbus 27 TR. That's the shoe that I keep in my Jeep. I always keep one emergency shoe in my Jeep. For a long time, it was the Peg Trail 3 Gore-Tex. And then that outsole, because I kept it in my Jeep for so long, through I think 2 different Carolina summers, that outsole started peeling off. I've never seen anything like it. But on that Peg Trail 3, the glue melted. That's how hot the summers get down here. The glue melted right here, and the entire outsole was just peeling off. I don't know if I still have that shoe or I gave it away, but the 27 TR, the Nimbus, is now my emergency Jeep shoe. This is my criteria for emergency shoe, right? It needs to be able to go on-road or off-road, so it needs to have some sort of outsole, because what if I forget my hiking shoes? Boom. I need to be able to run in it, and then it needs to have some level of swag. And I need to be able to wear it for whatever. So Nimbus 27 TR checks all those boxes. I think it's the most lacking in the swag department, but certainly can go on-road, off-road, and you can run in it. Anyway, what I love so much about the Nimbus, it's comfortable, good amount of bounce, really versatile, and it has all that max stack comfort that I love. And the other thing is you can find the shoe for under $100, man. People always tell me, I got the shoe for $80 at Dick's. I got the shoe for $80 at Dick's. So a long time, this colorway was discounted to $100. And then if you sign up for the Dick's text message list, you can get an additional $20 off. So one of the best deals out there for a max cushion shoe, just old reliable right here. Can't go wrong with a Nimbus, man. If I had to pick a list of 10 shoes to save only, Nimbus would go on that list. 5, I don't know. I don't think it would make my top 5 list. But if we're talking franchises, what are some of those franchises to save? Nimbus would have to go on the top 5. It's a top 5 franchise for sure. So that's what the Wave Sky 9 is going up against. Also going up against shoes like the Vomero 18, also Vomero Plus. Oh gosh, I think I'm going to need my knife for this. Hold on. But yeah, the one going up against the Super Blast and the Glizzy and all those types of shoes, that would be the Neo Vista 2. So, man, if you want the Neo Vista 2, get the Neo Vista 2. I don't understand why people are so hype about this shoe. It's probably going to be solid, but the Neo Vista is the one to be hype about. This is not supposed to be the hype one. Talk about expedited shipping. Bro, look, talking about expedited shipping. This took 5 business days to get here. It's not expedited shipping. All right, let's open this thing up. Bada boom, bada bang, bada bop. So I went and actually didn't order it on Running Warehouse because they didn't have this colorway. And last time I was telling you, man, everybody was saying that they didn't watch the Neo Vista 2 reviews and they didn't buy the Neo Vista 2 because the colorway was too dark and boring. So this was the brightest and lightest colorway available. I didn't even use my own affiliate link to buy it. That's how much I wanted people to watch the Mizuno coverage, because I know people are sleeping on Mizuno. So look at this. Some nice, what color is this? Seafoam? I don't even know. First thing I'm noticing here, it does look like they've cleaned up the sizing. This looks like a much better normal size shoe for a 10.5. The other thing that I found out the other day is if you look at the US sizing, all these shoes are going to be the same, right? Every shoe that I order is going to be 10.5. But if you start looking at these other sizes, that's where you see some differences. So look at this, US 10.5. Let's look at the Glizzy here. See if we can find any differences. Yes. Okay, look at this. So this is US 10.5. But if you look at the Euro, look, the Euro in the Glizzy has a 44.5. The Euro in the Wave Sky 9 has a 44. And I did not know this until this past week, that even if it's the same US size, you can have all these different sizing variations here. Also, on the Mizuno, we have a Brazil size. I've never even seen that. Let's check on Skechers to see if we can find any differences here. So this is where it starts really getting wacky. Right, look at that. In the Wave Sky 9, the Brazil size is 42.5. In the Skechers, it's 42, even though all the other sizes are the same. Sorry, can you see that? I was blocking it. Right there. Look, 42 and then 42.5 here. And just for good measure, we can check the Asics. Oh, this one is on the... Oh, no, it's not in here. None of these shoes, none of these other shoes have the tag. All right. Point being, there is sizing variation across these shoes. That is something I did not know because of my Americentric viewpoint. That's a good word for people out there. Everyone wants to hate on America. That's the thing. Everyone who doesn't live in America just loves to bash America, and I won't tolerate it. I will not stand for the America slander. I know it's in vogue now as an American to bash and say you hate America. Nah, not here. I don't hate anybody. And especially not the country that I live in. Look at this. How could you hate this? How could you hate this? It's beautiful. Even though it's slightly misty and rainy, still is beautiful. Anyway, Wave Sky 9. This is supposed to be their standard max cushion cruiser. As I'm holding it and looking at it, it reminds me a lot of the Bondi, which I don't have up here. So I can go inside and grab it when we do the weigh-in, but that's the one that I would compare it to. Also, pushing in this foam here, this is... I don't know if it's going to be soft or firm out there on the ride, but I can just tell you right now, this is a lot firmer than the foam in the Neo Vista. Yeah, just from the push test here, soft, not particularly soft. So that's the difference coming in. And then on the bottom, we have a dual foam setup, similar to a shoe like the Mach 5, where you have a continuous bottom layer, or the Gel Cumulus. You have a continuous bottom layer of a more standard foam, so some sort of standard type of EVA on the bottom with the supercritical EVA on the top. And then what I'm noticing here is up at the forefoot, the supercritical EVA actually extends farther, so that might be nice for the toe off. You also get a really nice rocker, similar to the Bondi. And you want to know the other thing? Lower drop. So that's another thing that puts it similar with the Bondi. So overall, good looking shoe. I hope people don't sleep on this one because it actually looks really solid. The colorway is nice. This is light gray green. Good looking shoe. You get the wide base, wide platform for inherent stability here. It's not going to be too soft. The inside foam here, it does feel like it might soften up and break in, but just from the touch here, I would think Vomero 18. I would think Bondi. I would think Nimbus. I would not try to put this up against the Super Blast in that category of shoes. However, the weird thing, I don't know what Mizuno thinks they're doing because this is $180. So that puts it $15 more expensive than the Nimbus. That's more expensive than the Bondi, which already has a premium. I actually think, did the Bondi go up to $175? I think it might have. So very similar. But the whole thing with Mizuno is they're like Mazda. They are a value brand. So when you start dropping shoes like this, even if the tech is on par, it's just odd because they don't have that credibility in America yet. It's the same reason why when you see a brand like Mazda talk about a premium car, they're not actually dropping a car that's going to give you the same type of luxury as Benz or Audi or BMW. It's one class below. It's almost there with a much lower price. So that's what I would expect from Mizuno. I would have expected this to be $160. That $180 was really surprising, but the thing is, the Neo Vista 2, they raised the price on this $20, and it's the best gosh dang long run shoe of the year. So maybe this Wave Sky 9 is going to be the best max cushion standard cruiser of the year, and I'll be eating my words. But there's only one way to find out. We have to run on it. First, let's get some specs. I actually think Mizuno's colorway and design game is strong. They're underrated when it comes to the design department. They make really clean, good-looking shoes. Just comes together nicely. I mean, look at this thing. It's just classic. I might use this for casual use. If I don't end up loving running in it, I could totally just use this for casual use. Looks so cushioned and comfortable. This looks like it would be an awesome travel shoe. It has some of that dad drip to it, but then with this more modern edge because you have the waves and everything. So I'm a huge fan of this design. I'll love to see what they do with different colorways of it. The launch colorways aren't all that exciting and impressive to me, but this was the best one by far. All right, let's get a check in on the category here. So I did go inside and I pulled the Bondi out. So weighing in the Bondi comes in at 332 grams. That is standard for this category of max cushion shoes. If we look at a shoe like the Nimbus, this is one of the category leaders. I would say Nimbus and Bondi are the category leaders here. 319 or 318 grams. Skechers Aeroburst. Now, Aeroburst is interesting because it's priced like one of these standard shoes, but the ride is more exciting, and it's not a shoe that I'd want to walk in or just use for normal stuff. That's the difference between the Super Max Stack shoes, like the Aeroburst, the Glizzy Max, and the Neo Vista, versus the more standard Max Cushion shoes. The standard shoes are designed for casual use, for walking, for short jogging, whereas these Super Max Stack shoes, they generally have more tech. They'll put the plates in there, they'll put the bouncy race foams in there, or at least the high-end training foams, and you're not going to want to use them for casual use. Like the Neo Vista, for example, I'm not going to walk in that. Aeroburst, very heavy at 342 grams. This is a tank. It doesn't ride like a heavy shoe because of how much bounce it has. And then one more shoe I wanted to throw on. Nike Vomero 18. We'll have the Vomero Plus coming soon, but the Vomero Plus is going to go more up against the Neo Vista 2. This one comes in at 325 grams. So with that, let's get a check on the Wave Sky 9 here. Bang, 316 grams. So look at that, lightest in the category. That undercuts the Nimbus by a few grams there. Let's check on the right side, get a QA check. Ooh, 321. So still puts it up at more of the light end of the spectrum here. Not super light, so average that out to 318. So we could say it's a tie. Tied with the Nimbus for the lightest shoe. Let's do the stack check. I was telling Charlie today, man, I'm having so much fun and just feel so much better running in these older shoes, not worrying about the hype new shoes, not doing the first run reviews, just focusing on my training. She said, how long is that going to last? And I said, today. It's done. We're back to the new shoes. It's a mix, right? The new shoes will eventually become old shoes if we run in them. So I guess at some point we have to get new shoes. All right, let's do a stack check. Left side of the Wave Sky 9. I can already tell this is a tall boy, above 40 for sure. Ooh, what the? You got, sorry. It's giving me crazy numbers. There we go. We got a good reading finally. 42.3 on the left side. That is pretty much exactly what I would expect. 42.3 On the left side, ooh. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with our stack measurer here. I might have to put some new batteries in it. Just having a tough time this morning. All right, we're getting a reading of 44 on the right side. So just about 42 to 44 millimeters of stack. Pretty much what I would expect. That is higher or lower than the Neo Vista. Let's get a quick check on the Neo Vista 2 here just to refresh ourselves. Yeah, this thing comes in closer to 50. Average 48 millimeters in the back here. If we get a check on the Bondi, which is the closest comp, and everyone wants a piece of that Hoka market, especially when it comes to the casual share, and that's really what Mizuno's going for with this Wave Sky 9 update. Can they take down the Bondi? This thing comes in at 40, so very similar specs to the Bondi. I want to do a check on the platform here so we can see what the differences are, because, man, it really just looks like they took an exact replica of this Bondi and made it real. They said, how can we make a Mizuno Bondi? I mean, the upper, the tongue, the last even looks the same, right? How these shoes are built. So let me get some platform width measurements. All right, heel check. Heel width on the Bondi, or on the Wave Sky. Boom, 101 millimeters in the back. If we look at the Bondi, very similar, 104 millimeters in the back. All right, midfoot of the Wave Sky. Dude, all my tools are just jacked up today. 90, oh gosh. All right, the good thing with this is I can just read it off of the actual thing. We don't need the digital display. So this one is 92 millimeters wide. A lot of these TikTok generation people wouldn't be able to do that. If the screen broke, they would just say, okay, we have to end the video now. But no, we can look at the actual ruler here. Isn't that crazy? We look at the analog. So 90 in the Bondi. So, man, platform width and everything, super similar. And then 4-foot Wave Sky 9. Woo, that's a big boy right there. That's 120 millimeters wide. Let's see on the Bondi. Dude, identical. Just about 120 on the Bondi. Look at that. Dude, that's wild. So, very similar. And then let's get a 4-foot stack check. Because, again, these have... Oh, no. How do we get this dirty? Oh, okay. It came off. So, similar drops here. But let's check it right before the rocker really starts curving up here. Man, that's a big stack. That's about 39 millimeters right up there in the front. Bondi, you get, man, maybe even more. Yeah, just above 40 right there. Don't look at the screen. It's going crazy right there. So two very similar shoes. That would be the comp. Looks like a running max stack shoe, but also potentially doubles as a casual shoe. Big rocker. Look at that. The Wave Sky 9 has even more of an aggressive rocker. So if this could be a better Bondi, that would be a banger in my book, because I absolutely loved the Bondi. All right, let's get this thing on foot. Big fan of this colorway. It's a vibe. This whole shoe is a vibe. Remember that song from 17? I think I'm waving now. It was one of those SoundCloud songs that just popped off, and I don't think the guy ever made anything else that really did much. All right. Gosh. I hate when this happens, man. This is one of those cases where they overcorrected. This is the thing. They hear everybody complaining about the sizing. They say, okay, you think our shoes are too big? Bang! You think we have too much room in the toe box? Bang! This borderline feels like a Puma or a Nike up in the front. Low volume toe box. It also curves super aggressively, and whenever you get a curved rocker like that in the front, you have the potential to get your toes smashed up. Yeah, I almost feel like I should have gotten an 11 in this, half size up, especially if I'm going to use it more for casual use. Just feels like a snugger shoe. It's not terrible, but it does not fit like the other Mizunos, which for some people borderline fit a full size too big. This is definitely not a full size too big. This puppy is snug. Yeah, step-in feel, not super soft, very similar to a Bondi. It almost feels firm, man. So if you're thinking this is going to be a soft shoe because the Neo Vista is soft and the Neo Zen is soft, no. If you want the Neo Zen, get the Neo Zen. If you want the Neo Vista, go watch one of my Neo Vista videos that you didn't watch. All right, walk test. Honestly, feel like I don't even need to run in this to know how it's going to feel. I can tell how this is going to feel just from the walk. It's smooth, extremely smooth from the rocker here. It's stable from the firmer foam, and then it's cushioned from just having so much stack and being high off the ground. It really feels like a contrarian Bondi. If you want a Bondi, but you can't buy a Hoka because you can't convince yourself to buy a Hoka because you don't want to be a grandpa or something. I know that's not the Hoka rep anymore, but if you just don't want to buy a Hoka, but you want a Hoka, this really feels super similar. It's almost firmer, though. That is the one thing where on the run we'll have to see, but feels super similar to that. Lower drop, smooth, natural cushion, really comfortable shoe, and definitely on the firmer side. Watch this. You can see as I'm trying to press it down in the back, not getting much. It's almost like a cumulus, like a higher stack cumulus. So not the most exciting feel, but really comfortable. I'm excited to see how this does out there. I was going to try to get 12 miles. I don't know. We might have to do minimum 10 this morning because I'm getting a late start. These summer late starts are killing me. But let's do it. Enough talking. Wave Sky 9. Oh man, that's cool. I could have gone for a singlet today. It's shirtless out here. Bro, somebody told me that a shoe tuber called this magical. A shoe tuber called this magical. What? What? Dude, people really hype up things that are not all that. This is good. This is not what I would call magical. It very much feels like it fits in the conversation with the Nimbus and the Bondi. It's really solid. Early overreaction, comfortable, smooth, stable. But magical? What? Magical? Nah. You guys let me down. Other shoe tubers just disappoint me. Yeah, definitely a nice ride though. Feels like an awesome recovery run shoe. As far as the foam feel, I would say it's on the firmer side of Goldilocks. Maybe just right
in that Goldilocks zone, but it's definitely not soft. If Saucony Endorphin Elite is a 10 softness, the Elite 2, and what's the most brickish shoe of the year? I don't know, one of the On standard EVA shoes. If that's a 1 for the softness, this is probably a 5. It's just feels right in the middle, but with the rocker, feels good. Also, I can feel as I put more force into it, we're getting more bounce. And that's the classic supercritical EVA feel. You do get some nice compression and bounce. So magical? No. Good? Yes. Think Ghost Max, think Bondi. This is why I still need to do these reviews, even though I don't want to. We got randoms out here calling shoes magical, leading people astray. Stop it. It is not magical. It's perplexing. Mile 1, 8:31. We're hitting recovery pace today. This has a little bit of that Super Blast feel, where if you jam the heel down, you get more bounce. And I think with the firmness in here, bigger runners are really gonna love this one. Not a light touch runner shoe, but a lot of these big Max Stack shoes, they force me to put something extra in them. Don't feel awesome at recovery paces. This is right on the line. Aero Burst was one of the better ones for me, where I could hang back at 8:30 and it still felt nice and bouncy. But this one wants me to get down slightly faster to get the bounce. Mile 2, 8:02 pace. Nice recovery. This is good. It's solid. Yeah, it very much feels like it's in the mix with the standard Max Cushion shoes that you can walk in, you can jog in. I mean, me personally, I'd rather have the Neo Vista 2 on my feet right now. I'd rather be continuing my week of enjoying myself and running in favorites, but instead I had to come through and save hobby joggers. I'm Captain Save a Jogger out here today from people calling stuff magical. Supercritical EVA is now magical. It blows my mind. But no, this is good. It's just, yeah, I wouldn't think of this as a Mag Max or put it in that type of category. So we were talking about the whole stream concept the other day. Now STEM is ballooned to include reading and arts. I came up with an idea. So we go back to STEM, keep the focus of the STEM on the science, technology, engineering, math. We spin out reading and the arts to have a parallel movement. And we're gonna call it RAIN. Reading, arts, integrity, and nutrition, because those last two are lacking as well. Apparently literacy rates are falling behind. I also think the integrity rates are low, and you can just look around, you'll see the importance of nutrition. Or we could do hard, because people were saying we got to get the humanities and history in there. So the H, we can say history. So we have history, art, reading, and defense. Gotta teach the fundamentals from a young age. So Supwell Hard Camp. We have registrations open now for next summer. It's gonna be in Mint Hill. Outside, no AC only. is going to be the second week of July. The sign-up cost is affordable, 50 bucks, that's it. Because there's not a lot of materials we're gonna need for the camp. We don't give the kids food or water because we gotta teach them to be hard. Mile 3, 8:03 pace. It's definitely a 10-mile morning. Not gonna push too much. Keep it light, let the legs recover. You know what the problem is today? We got off-brand shoe tubers calling EVA magic. I'm just kidding, man. I hope whoever called this magic, I really hope that nobody actually called this magical and that was just a rumor. I think I saw that posted on the Supwell app. Or maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe it was a different shoe that was called magical. I'm backtracking now because I feel like I've been too harsh on the person who called this magical. I'm sorry. I'm just a jerk. All right, I'm gonna spin this so I don't look too mean. Maybe the issue is me and I'm just jaded and cynical, so I don't believe in magic. And I'm just not able to see the magical qualities of the shoe because it's one of those things, what you see is what you get, or you can make your dreams a reality. So it could be one of those things where, you know, platform 9 3/4, you have to have the magic in you and then you can just sprint into the wall with your cart and it turns magical. So it could be the case that I don't have the magic in me, so I'm not feeling the magical power of the Wave Sky 9. Let's go with that. The funny thing about the stream camp is the camp director, because we went to the Friday wrap-up. I took the day off and we got to see all the stuff that they worked on. It was really cool. It was at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. It was by NASCAR. It was a free camp. And it was really cool to see how much effort NASCAR is putting into opening up their doors to the community. Anyway, the camp director, he was calling it STEM. So, some things just don't stick. Man, this is a tough one because we're 4 miles in here. I already have my take on the shoe, so the rest of this run is just garbage time. I should be able to have a backup come in, just run the last 6 miles for me. I can put on the Neo Vista too. We can have the Shoe Tube B team close it out here. That'd be nice. Man, this weather is so nice. 66 and misty. I just know I'm about to get body slammed next week when it's back in the 90s. You know what I would do? I'm gonna give out some game here to the people who are still watching me during garbage time. Thank you for not shutting off the TV. It was a blowout. What I would do though is pick up a pair of Ghost Max 2 on discount. If you're looking at this shoe, dude, very similar. This feels like a broken in pair of Ghost Max 2. Similar drop. That has a slightly lower stack, but man, very similar ride experience. Also super critical EVA. Similar comfort. That one is slightly firmer out of the box, but you can get that for probably half the price of this. Especially if you use our discount code on Running Warehouse. Look at me. I'm running in the rain. There you go, running in the rain. Now I can feel superior to other people for a completely arbitrary reason. Running in the rain. Almost at mile 7 here. It's rainy, it's misty. This is firmly in the solid camp. In a 5-tier system, solid is right in the middle. We have trash, mid, solid, really good, and banger. This is solid. That was actually mile 8, thankfully, because it's raining now. I'm trying to get home. Last mile, rain is picking up here. It's becoming increasingly unpleasant. I was thinking though, so the most offensive things my kids know how to say are "what the heck." That one's on me. Not great, but that's also the most offensive thing I say, because I don't use foul language. But then sometimes I'll just say it, "what the heck," and then it's okay. Maybe you shouldn't say that around kids, but if that's the worst thing, not too bad. The other ones are mean. So Ira, he really thinks that's an insult to call somebody mean, or even to call an inanimate object mean. If he's feeling spicy and he's trying to start some drama, he'll say something like, "this toast is mean." And I'll try to tell him that's not how you use the word. That's not how it works in the English language. A piece of toast can't be mean. And then the last one is random. And that's Mason, actually, the 6-year-old. She'll get really offended if I call anything random. If I'll say somebody's a random person, say, "Daddy, they're not random." I think she thinks random means mean. I've tried to explain it to her, but sometimes you got to explain things dozens of times before they stick. But this shoe right here, this is a random. Well, there we go. That one should make the rain renegades happy. I proved that I'm a real man because I ran in the rain today. Look at that. I'm so glad I got my man card back. All right, Wave Sky 9, staying true to the name here. The skies were waving on us today. I'll give that a light effort. Felt fine. Aerobically felt great, man. These cooler temps, oh my goodness. I think it just said my average heart rate was 124 on that run. Yeah, 8:14 pace, 10 miles, average 124 heart rate. Nice recovery run. Didn't really want to push it to 12. I'm still going for a big mileage number this week, but I'll get it later and tomorrow. It's good to do one actual recovery run. So that was it, and now I have to hit a big refuel. But in terms of the shoes, extremely solid, man. This is another one of those shoes that just feels like if you asked an AI to spit out a completely middle-of-the-road shoe that combines elements from every other shoe out there, that this would be it, right? You got the rocker, you got the low 40-millimeter stack height, you got a foam that's in the Goldilocks zone, you got a supercritical EVA, which is basically as middle-of-the-road of the foam you could get. It's not a standard foam. It's also not a race foam. Yeah, it's just totally bang-on average max cushion shoe in a good way. It's extremely solid, man. I think you'd have a hard time, another one of these shoes, where you'd have a hard time finding somebody who just absolutely hates it. There's really very little that's inoffensive about this shoe, which is great for the category, right? With this type of shoe, a Bondi, a Vomero, a Nimbus, you just want a shoe that feels good for a lot of people and is going to work well for a lot of people, and this is it. The only problem is it's the most expensive shoe in the category by the brand with the worst reputation, or at least the least known brand. So that's a bit of a conundrum there. Been wet this entire week. I'm honestly not complaining because I'm gonna put the Hobby Jogger rain jacket on the camera. Yeah, I'm not complaining because it was 95 degrees, 98 degrees for about 2 whole weeks. So
Honestly, this is nice. All right. I think we have that. The one issue is I can't really see the screen. We don't need to see the screen as long as you all can see. Yeah, Wave Sky 9. Let me do some quick research because I believe it's $180, but maybe I'm misremembering. Okay, I'm going to go to Running Warehouse, search Wave Sky 9. Yeah, I'm not wrong. It is, oh no, it's not $180. It's $179.95. Running Warehouse did a UI update on their website, and all the shoes now have these discounted prices. It's hilarious. Look at that. The 180's crossed out, and it says $179.95. They gotta fix that. Yeah, $180, and I'm not gonna come out here and scream and shout and talk about how it's this wildly overpriced shoe like I've done before with the Ultra Boost or the Pegasus Plus, because it's not. It's not wildly overpriced. But that just feels like a lot for what this is. This is a Bondi competitor. This is a Nimbus competitor. They already have the Neo Vista in their lineup. What are you getting here that you're not in anything else in the category for 180? So that's the thing for me. It's just surprising to me that they decided to do that, especially because they don't have the brand equity built up with a broad swath of the market in the US. They have their core consumer who's been buying their shoes for a long time. But if they're trying to break through, I would have loved to see them price this competitively because it's a good shoe, man. It might be one step above solid. It really is a good shoe. It's not magical. There's nothing in it that's going to blow your mind, but nice, smooth ride, good feel. It doesn't feel super max stack, even though there's a lot of foam in here. It feels cushioned enough. It's like if you combined the Cumulus and the Nimbus, right? Because you get the bounce of the Nimbus, that tall cushion feel of the Nimbus, but more of that lower to the ground natural feel of the Cumulus combined, right? So it does have a nice blend of elements to it. It feels decently flexible, or at least natural in the front. The rocker, super nice. Overall, a really approachable, comfortable shoe. So let's throw up the run from today. We got 10 miles, just recovery effort around the hood here. I've been doing a lot of high mileage training recently, so I'm actually at 75 miles for the week. My Garmin, you know how if you have the Garmin, it will tell you your weekly mileage? It says I'm at 96, and I think Garmin tracks it from Sunday to Saturday. Matter of fact, I know Garmin does Sunday to Saturday versus Strava does Monday to Sunday. So since Sunday, I've gotten 96 miles, and it's Thursday morning. I'll get some more this afternoon. So that's going to be over 100 in 5 days once I do this afternoon run. Hopefully I can get out here this afternoon. I think my schedule's on the busier side today, but oh gosh, are we fogging up here? I need a windshield wiper for the camera. I think as long as you can hear my voice will be good. Is everything plugged in? Is it plugged in? Are our cords plugged in? I think our cords are plugged in. That would be a bummer if they weren't. Can you see my face? That's the other thing. Right now I have the hood on. Is this better? Can you see my face? Can you see my face when I do that? I think this is better for me because I'm not getting wet. I think if we go like that, that's probably ideal for everybody out there, right? So yeah, I'm on tired legs, 96 miles in 5 days or 75 in 4 days. I've just been beasting out this week. I wanted to increase the mileage again, just get back in the zone of, in the mind frame of we're doing marathon training, we're pounding the pavement, we're getting after it. So yesterday I did 2 workouts. I did kilometers on the treadmill in the morning. That was in the Alpha Flies, which I think gives you about 15 seconds per mile doing Alpha Flies plus the treadmill. So by the end, I was just maxing that thing out at 5 flat, and it felt really good. So really solid morning session. The goal of that one was just get the legs moving, get some turnover in. And then the afternoon, I did a freestyle workout, impromptu, 3-mile tempo at marathon pace. I ended up running it slightly faster than marathon pace just to get more volume at marathon pace. That is the entire philosophy that I have. The goal of the marathon is to run 26.2 miles at whatever pace you decide. And you better have a marathon pace. Unless you're doing a first marathon and all you care about is getting to the finish line. And even then, I would say try to have a goal pace in mind. The worst race, one of the worst races I had in my life was Coast Guard Marathon last year. I ran a 2:49, but I didn't have any pace in mind. So I was just going out there, hey, maybe I can run 6:15 pace per mile. Then I was running 6:40 pace per mile for some events. It felt terrible, and I ended up averaging a 6:30. So having a pace is super important. But the goal of the marathon is to run 26.2 at that pace. The goal of marathon training should be to accumulate as many miles as possible at that pace. There's no calculus to it. It's not an algebra equation, marathon training. It's like anything else. You need to practice. You need to get reps, right? If you want to bench 10 reps of 225, start with 5 reps of 225. If you want to get better at free throws or three-pointers, take more free throws, take more three-pointers. If you want to get better at scooping up ground balls in lacrosse, do a bunch of ground ball drills. That's all there is to it. People try to overcomplicate running. I see people doing all these crazy workouts, 1 times 6 plus 3K, and sometimes the Daniel system even can do some of that overcomplication. But the marathon is not a complicated beast if you approach it with a simple mindset, which is run as many miles as you can without getting fired, divorced, or injured. You know, I'm going to go there, but run as many miles that you can comfortably sustain without the other areas of your training taking a hit or other areas of your life taking a hit. And then run hard once a week and get a lot of marathon pace miles under your belt, as many marathon pace miles as you can. And what I've learned is with the marathon pace miles, specifically with me, I can recover a lot quicker from those types of workouts than I can from the faster stuff, which is why I do the faster stuff way farther out. And this year I paced it nicely, where in the winter and the early spring I was doing the faster stuff, 5K stuff, mile race pace stuff, because as we get closer into the marathon, that becomes less important. We need to get more specific with our training, and it's good to mix in some of the faster stuff here and there like I did yesterday morning, but not at a crazy high volume that's going to force a long recovery. But regardless, I still am on tired legs, lots of mileage, lots of intensity, and this is a really good shoe for it. It's just comfortable, no nonsense, gets out of the way, lets me do my job. It goes into that category of shoes that I really love for high mileage training. The Bondi, the Nimbus, the Vomero 18, not the most exciting shoes, but the shoes that for days where I'm feeling beat up and just want something that's gonna get out of the way, they do a really nice job. Now, the category above that, Neo Vista 2, Glycerin Max, Mag Max. I'll even put the Aero Burst in that category, even though it's a cheaper shoe. Those give you more bounce. Those are the shoes where you get into a run like this, deeper into it, 6-7 miles, and I'm starting to feel tired. And I said I was gonna go 10 to 12 and actually stopped at 10 this morning. Usually I'll push to 12, but said, you know what, it's raining, I don't need to do that. But you get deep into the run with one of those shoes, the Glycerin Max, the Mag Max, or the Neo Vista 2, and they'll start to feel better. They'll start to give you more. That, to me, is the difference between the Super Max Stack shoes and these. And all of those shoes have some sort of a special foam in them. With the Neo Vista 2, you have the really aggressive rocker, the plastic plate with the supercritical TPU. The Glycerin Max, that has the DNA tuned with just the different, I actually think that might even be some sort of EVA-based foam. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but that's a special foam. It doesn't feel like a standard training foam. Same thing with the Mag Max. I'm not sure exactly what compound that is. If you know, let us know. I know Puma calls everything nitro. And they did an AMA on Reddit recently, and somebody told me that Puma said they call everything nitro because it's an experience, not a foam. And that's what Mizuno's doing here. They're calling this Energy Next, but it's supercritical EVA. It's not the same foam that's in the Neo Vista 2. So that's the main difference with a shoe like this. As I got deeper into the run, it's not helping me fight back or giving me more pop, but it still did feel really good. It's definitely 1 or 2 steps above a standard shoe like a Cumulus or a Ride. Feels much better than those. I would put it in the same category as the Nimbus or the Bondi. It's almost in between those, right? It has the weight of the lighter shoe, the weight of the Nimbus, and the softness. It doesn't compress down as much, and the bounce doesn't even feel as crazy as the Nimbus, because dude, the Nimbus, people really sleep on that shoe. That thing is bouncy. That thing will bounce you along, especially if you want to put some pace and force into it, and it compresses down too. But it's a fun shoe. Bondi, it's less about the bounce, more about the smooth roll. This is in between. You get the smooth roll from the rocker, but you also get the bounce from this supercritical EVA. Feels very similar to something like the Ghost Max 2 once that's broken in. And I think with the supercritical EVA as well, in my experience, it's a foam that benefits a lot from, hey, I'm gonna run in this every day, or I'm gonna run in this a few times a week. I was talking about this with the Evo SL last week. That is a shoe where it doesn't quite break in once. You need to run in it a few times during a short period for it to get that soft character. So not a super soft shoe, but right in that Goldilocks zone. If the Bondi was too firm for you, this might be nice. If you felt the Nimbus was too squishy, this might be nice. Now, the biggest question mark to me is just we got to go back to the price. I don't know why this is $180. That's just a puzzling thing. And again, I don't want to harp on it because that's not way too crazy. It's not like the On Cloud Monster Hyper that's $220. It's not like it's the, what's another, Diodora Atomo Star, which is $250, right? This might be just as good or if not better than the Atomo Star. So it's not crazily expensive. It's just a weirdly expensive shoe, especially with the Neo Vista at $200. And if you're looking for value, I would say this is not it. It's also an unknown quantity, right? We don't know if we're paying for additional durability. We don't know if this is going to give you 400 miles like the Mag Max does, and especially with the Mag Max being at 180, very similar use case for me in terms of those two shoes and what I would use them for, just chomping down miles. I would go for the Mag Max over this. That foam is superior to this. You get more bounce. You can just get it going more. So I think with this, where I would go for it is if you want a hybrid running or walking shoe, a hybrid shoe that's going to be great for casual use as well as the running. If you want a shoe that's not too soft, not too firm, if you want something that just feels comfortable and is going to get out of the way and let you do the job of running, this is a nice pick. It's also just one of those shoes where, because it's in that moderate drop range, the stability is great, but it's not forcing me to run in a certain way. I can tell it's going to work for a lot of people. I don't think, like I was saying up there, I don't think anybody would run in this and say this is terrible, this is a brick, this is trash. Maybe it would be slightly too firm if you're really not putting down enough power, but for a lot of people, you're not going to be running with as tired or just feeling as beat up as I am today. Because that's the thing, right? I'm really beat up today. I was crawling along for some of those miles, and even then it felt good, and you'll probably break it in. So I don't really have any critiques of this. It's in terms of what they're trying to do. So let's go through those three questions. I always ask, how's the intended purpose? How does it compare to the category? And how does it compare to everything else on the market? In terms of the intended purpose, they crushed it here, right? A smooth, comfortable shoe. This is designed to be a max cushion daily trainer. So from that frame, I don't have any critiques of it. It seems they're setting out to make that Bondi competitor a shoe that's just gonna feel normal, get out of the way, let you run. That's exactly what it did today. Now, with the second question, how does it compare to the competitors at $180? That's where the critiques come into play here. And it's not actually about the performance of the shoe. It's more about the positioning and the price. Once you go up to 180, I'm expecting more, and it's not quite giving me that. It feels like a $160 shoe or a $170 shoe. And again, it's not like a $10 to $20 difference is, oh, this crazy thing is gonna break the bank. It's more so when you're pricing it there, you're telling me I should be getting a special quality or just something different that elevates it. And that's not what I'm getting here. So I would just come into it with the frame. If you are gonna buy this shoe, it should be because you want something smooth and comfortable, almost like a Saucony Hurricane 25, right? That's how I think about it. If you wouldn't buy the Saucony Hurricane 25, don't buy this. That's the type of shoe this is. Stable, smooth, reliable, very much a high cushioned workhorse that's gonna get out of the way and let you do the job of running. If you want a more exciting shoe, Mag Max, Neo Vista, Glizzy Max, those are still the ones to get. Now, question number 3, how does this compare to everything else on the market? Very solid, very standard. It has that quality where there's just absolutely nothing wrong with it. I always talk about comfort being the absence of anything bothersome. This is an extremely comfortable shoe with that frame. The tongue is comfortable. The upper actually did not bother me at all once we got out there. It does feel snugger and shorter than the Neo Vista and the Neo Zen. So get your normal size, not the size. If you size down in the other Mizuno shoes and you're gonna get this, don't get the size down. Get whatever you would typically get in a Nike or Saucony or Adidas. Or now the wind is coming around here. Hold on, gotta put the hobby jogger rain jacket back on the camera. All right, there we go. Yeah, the sizing, it fits true to size in this, so they did correct it. And I got a US 10.5. I will just read off the sizes in here. That translates to UK 9.5, Euro 44, Brazil, I hope that's Brazil, it just says Bra, because I've been calling it Brazil. Brazil 42.5 and JP 28.5. I'll start doing this so that I can give people, when I remember, a good reference. So this fits, I am always 10.5. 99% of the time, 10.5 is what feels good to me. This is a 10.5, and it converts to those and feels good. So take with that information what you will. It's also made in Vietnam, putting in work. So yeah, no real complaints about this shoe. Absence of anything bothersome, flawless for what it's trying to do. Doesn't feel light, it doesn't feel heavy, it doesn't feel soft, it doesn't feel firm. It's like a higher stack Cumulus. I said the same thing, and not in a bad way either. It's just a shoe that is gonna let you do the job of running. So if that's what you're looking for, this is gonna be a nice pick. I've seen some stuff come out recently. I think Dr. Harang did something about should the average stack height of shoes go down. This is 42 millimeters in the back, so it's cushioned, but it just doesn't feel like a cumbersome shoe. It doesn't feel like an overly big shoe, and it doesn't feel like a heavy shoe. So this is a shoe where I think it's just gonna work well for a lot of people. Also, it would be an excellent shoe for walking, time on feet, or at least it feels like that today. The limitations of it or the downsides of it would be, again, thinking about that more standard categories of shoes, the Bondi, Vomero, Nimbus. You can take them for longer runs. So if I were gonna do a 14-mile, 16-mile run, or a 20-mile long run, you can do it. And I've taken the Bondi for a 20-mile long run. I've taken the Nimbus for a 20-mile long run. I actually think the Nimbus is a weirdly underrated and weirdly good shoe for long runs, but this is not going to be my first preference. Neo Vista is going to be a much better shoe if you're doing 2 hours, 2.5 hours. This is more of the standard shoe, the go up to an hour, 90 minutes. It's not going to be bad, likely, and I only went up to 90 minutes this morning, but I don't foresee it being terrible, but it's just not going to give you that extra pop deeper into the run. And I can even feel it today as we got up to 7-8 miles. Wasn't giving me that extra pop. So that would be my main critique of it. That and the price, and if it were $160, $150, I wouldn't even be mentioning that, but you got to keep in mind this definitely is a more standard shoe. They also are calling it Energy Next. That's one of the things that triggers me when they call a foam something, then it turns out it's not the same foam that's in the other shoe. So it's not the same as the Neo Vista 2. It does not feel like the Neo Vista 2 at all. It's more stable, it's firmer, and it overall just feels more normal. The Neo Vista 2 is the farthest thing possible from a normal shoe. So I still prefer the Neo Vista 2, but this is a nice normal alternative. So if that's what you're looking for, you will not be disappointed. Magical, it is not. Solid to very good, it is. So overall, I would give this a B+. I would give this an A-, but with the price, it has to be a B+. It's just overpriced for what it is, but for what it is, it's good. All right, that's all I have for you today. The rain is playing me out, and I'm 3 minutes late to a meeting, so I'll be back tomorrow with another video. The only magic I know is mileage. The only magic I know is pain. The only magic I know is the consistent grind of monotony. It's the only magic I know.